Happy Wednesday, my winners and goal getters. Welcome back to another episode of the Getting the Win show. Or if this is your first episode, welcome. I'm your host, Mellissa T, the procrastination bully. And today we're going to go over this one key thing that could be stopping you from moving the needle as relates to your luxury item. Okay? We want to make sure we get to finish that luxury item. All right? So today I'm going to go over one potential roadblock that could be stopping you from completing the thing. That one thing is tracking your progress. You've likely heard me mention that a little bit in my previous episode, a few episodes ago, talking about the importance of journaling. There were some prompts in there that I talked about that as it relates to that. So tracking your progress is super, super important in any process that you're doing. Like, we know about scheduling. We've heard the old adage, what gets scheduled gets done. Here's the thing in terms of tracking your progress. What gets tracked gets improved upon. What gets tracked gets results. Okay? You can take notes on either one of those quotes there. What gets tracked gets improved upon, and what gets tracked gets results. Okay. And I get it. If you're someone who is very fast moving, you're not big on structure, you're not a fan of having to slow down enough to do something like that. The truth is, what gets tracked is important, because if you're someone that is obsessed with results, there's always a way to make those results even better or to yield more of those results, a higher quantity of the results that you want. And when you track the progress, you're also able to systematize your results. You're able to create repeatable steps or repeatable systems. And systems are a cheat code to life. Okay, I'm dropping nuggets super early in this video. Systems are a cheat code to life. Think about the entrepreneurial space. If you're familiar with the Shark Tank show or any of its international variations, I want to say the Britain one is the Dragons, or like the Dragon's Den, something like that. The investors that are judging the different business pitches, they're not necessarily buying into the contestants' businesses. They're buying their business models. The angel investors want to know that the money that they invest will multiply. And the most effective way to do that is with a system that is repeatable, a business model that has a system in it that is repeatable. Systems are the cheat code to life. Dr. Myron Golden says that principles are God's automation. Systems are our equivalent of that. Systems are our automation. So tracking your progress in anything that you're doing, whether that's writing your book, whether that's adopting the habit of working out, adopting the habit of reaching out to people. If you're in a coaching situation, I promise you, the coach that you're working with is going to plug you into a system. There's going to be some kind of way that the coach is going to track your progress or assign you to track your progress. Tracking your progress is the backbone of transformation. So even if you missed the first two quotes about tracking your progress, save this one. Tracking your progress is the backbone to transformation. You have to see where you started, know how you're doing, so that by the time you get to the end, you can celebrate how far you've come. Don't make the mistake that I made where, you're busting your behind doing the work and not necessarily seeing how far you've come or celebrating your wins along the way. Now, this goes into the hazard of not tracking your progress. So let me get into that. I'm going to talk about these hazards about not tracking your progress, or the hazard of not tracking your progress. And then I'm going to give you 4 app recommendations to get you started on the habit tracking process. You know what I mean? If that's something that you need. If you're very techie, you want to have the habit tracked on your phone or your mobile device, whatever the case may be. Got 4 apps for you, so stay tuned for those. But yes, it's important to track your progress, because if you don't, here's the hazard. You'll end up in a situation where you're completely burnt out because you've likely done too much. And we end up doing too much when we're not tracking what we're doing. Because if we're tracking, we can also see points of correction. We can likely ask someone else. If we're along the journey, we can ask someone else if there's something that maybe we can extract from the process. Maybe there's something we don't need to do anymore. You guys, if you've been rocking with me for a long time, you've likely heard me talk about this before. There are times when we can simplify our processes. Somebody might be like, why are you doing it like that? There's an app for it. Or why are you doing it like that? Go to this website and download this guide, download this worksheet, download this checklist, insert tool here. There are plenty of tools. So tracking your progress is the backbone of transformation. You've got to be able to know the steps that you're taking and what you can avoid or remove from the process to make it less complicated. Our human minds love simple. If there are too many options, there are too many possible directions for us to go in, that's how we end up with analysis paralysis, and we stop. When the human mind is presented with too many options, we make none. We don't make any choices at all. Okay? So be sure to track your progress to avoid needless burnout, needless depression, needless exhaustion. Because one of the key things about any of us that are goal getters, one of the things we are always mindful of is our time. My coach ET points out a lot, those who are successful in the world are pilots, or they lean into the habits and tendencies of pilots, because pilots are big on results. If you talk to any pilot, the one thing they're tyrannical about is their time. So in terms of habit tracking, I want to make sure to help you save some of yours. All right? Track what you're doing, even if it's something as simple as keeping a notebook or a journal, and you're just writing down what you did that day for as it relates to that specific task, that specific thing that moves the needle towards your luxury item. Even if you don't feel like journaling about the other stuff in your life, if you want to hyper focus solely on the tasks related to your luxury item, focus only on those, but make sure you're tracking them. And again, leading back to the concept of who, not how, be sure to constantly lean on the folks in your life that have expertise in your luxury item, so that you can bounce those ideas off of them, and they'll be able to tell you, oh, wait, I have something that can help you save time on that. Or wait, like that particular step you don't need to do. It's not necessary for the process. You can cut that out altogether. Or they can tell you, you're right on everything, you're on the right track. Here's a way to make it even better. And that's the most important nugget in tracking your progress. It's that improvement. It's the improvement. So what gets tracked gets improved upon. What gets tracked gets results. Tracking your progress is the backbone of transformation. Remember those things. If you don't track your progress, the cost of that is your health, your mental peace, your emotional stability. Those three things. Because as I mentioned, you're dealing with burnout, you're dealing with stress, and possibly depression. And quite frankly, time wasting. That's a fourth one. That's a fourth minus that you don't want to deal with. Time wasting. If you're flying by the seat of your pants, yes, flying by the seat of your pants can be fun. I am 59 flight attendant, so I know how that feels. And those who are strong flight attendants, you guys know, like, it's so much more fun to just discover things as they happen. Take life by the horns, right? The issue is you might lose a lot of time by living your life like that. Take it from ET. ET the hip hop preacher has learned over the past year. He had to buckle down and get into a systematic mindset. So, following the principle of who, not how, he plugged into a gentleman who he's already working with in his ecosystem, Mustafa Gonem. Those of us who follow the extreme execution ecosystem, we know him as Moose. But ET, the flight attendant, plugged in with the air traffic controller to get more systematized. And since January of this year, the ETA ecosystem has been running much more smoothly because things are more systematic. They're more repeatable, they're more reliable, and there's much less that ET has to burn time doing or burn up time worrying about. Because Moose took all of that off of his plate. Principles are God's automation, as Myron Golden says. And the procrastination bully says systems are our cheat code to success. Systems are our cheat code to success. Same principle. Principles are God's automation. Systems are our cheat code to success. Systems are what we use to become successful because systems are built on principles. Systems are repeatable. Systems are buyable. Companies that sell out completely, an entrepreneur that uses that as the exit strategy, it's because the business had a solid system that is scalable. Investors always care about that. They want to scale, they want to make more on their investment. So make sure you're tracking your progress. Super important. If you don't feel like doing that, I'm going to lovingly challenge you to force yourself to do it. Hit up your accountability partner or your confidant, whoever you trust the most, that is willing to take you on this ride together, and have that call with them. Schedule that, whether that's daily or weekly, but schedule it. Make it a non-negotiable because you can only stand to grow from it. Okay? This is something that will be ultimately beneficial for the rest of your life. This isn't one of those like willy-nilly kind of tactics or tools that I'm recommending to you. This is a skill. This is something that will carry you for the rest of your life if you use it. Track your progress. Think about all the big corporations. Many of the biggest ones are C corps. They're publicly traded. So because they're public companies, what do they have to do? They have to report quarterly earnings reports. Not only on paper, but some companies also present them as keynotes. One of the most popular example of this is Apple. They have their presentations. Usually their video presentations are usually annual, and usually when they're announcing some new hardware, right? Some kind of new device. But there are some corporations that they share their progress with their shareholders. So as you're working on your luxury item, whether yours is a business or if it's a book or if it is clothing design or if it is fixing your car, some kind of automobile, if it is fixing up a property, whatever your luxury item is or looks like, track the progress of it and make sure you have someone else in your corner that is riding with you as you track it. Make sure you use your resources. Tap into the people in your life who already have expertise in this thing as you're working towards your finish line. That way, they can help extract anything that's unnecessary or plug in things that will make your results even better or higher in quantity, depending on what your luxury item is. This brings me to the 4 apps that I'm going to recommend. You don't have to use all of them. That's not what this is intended for. It's intended for you to try any of them, as many of them as you want to try, and find the one that works for you. But these are all habit tracking apps that you can try on your phone or your other mobile device, okay? So the first one I recommend is 21 Days. It is a habit forming app, and it also allows you to put in your daily tasks too. So you've got that as well. There are certain productivity apps that only focus on tasks or only focus on habit forming or habit tracking. This one, 21 days, incorporates both. So that's the first one. The next one is simply called Habit. Nice and simple, right? Like easy to remember. That is a habit tracking app as well. So look into that. The third one is called Streaks. Interesting name for that. But I get it. When it comes to doing something consistently, we always refer to that as a streak. The fourth one is really good if you're into gamification. Okay. This particular app is called Habit Now. It's a quantitative habit forming app and it's gamified. So if you're somebody that likes to have a little bit of fun when you're tracking progress or building something or working on something, that fourth one is for you. Habit Now is for you. Okay. Now, I could wax deep on this because I'm more well versed in what it looks like to not do that. But I can just tell you when you don't do it, you do have a tendency to end up aimless because I've experienced that. You end up feeling aimless. When you're aimless, you burn through a lot of precious time. And then when you're burning through a lot of precious time, there's the guilt aspect. There's the guilt aspect, and that is what feeds into the depression. Because if you don't feel like you're making progress, you're wondering whether or not what you're doing is pointless. Without tracking your progress, you'll wonder if what you're doing is pointless and you'll stop doing it. We're goal getters out here, okay? Like we trying to get stuff done. So track your progress. Don't make the mistake I made, or if you have, don't make it again. We are all about winning out here. All right? We are all about winning out here. Surround yourself with the people that are going to help you get those habits done. Try any one of those 4 apps. Try all of them. See which ones work for you. And by all means, drop in the chat. When you sample them, drop it in the chat. Which ones you think is right for you? Or if you're already using one, drop that in the comment section. Let other viewers know what's working for you right now, if that's something that you're doing. But yeah, I didn't want to hold y'all. This is a super short episode. No, I did not have a super crowded schedule today, but I wanted to touch on this one because it's extremely important. Because if you're not addressing this, it's a massive roadblock in your road to completion. You have to track your progress. You've got to track it. If you don't feel like doing it, have that person in your corner that will do it alongside you. They'll tug you on your ear to keep you accountable so you can keep going. All right. As always, you can find me at Getting the Win on YouTube. Please be sure to subscribe there. You can find me on Instagram, Pinterest, and Threads at Getting the Win Show. Drop your comments or your DMs there. Make sure you're following me in order to DM me on Instagram. Okay? Follow me on Threads to be able to hit me up there. And then lastly, as I close out, just a reminder, shout out to all those that rock with me for the anniversary, the 1-year anniversary episode of the Getting the Win Show. So just as a quick reminder, I did make the huge announcement at the end of that episode that I have got my Spring Forward Writers Retreat coming up in March of 2025. So just go to tinyurl.com/Spring Forward Retreat. tinyurl.com/Spring Forward Retreat. Just to get the overview of the event, get some details, and learn more. If you are somebody that has a book that you want to get done, and you've been sitting on it, or you just have an idea but you're not sure where else to go with it, this particular retreat will have you walking in with whatever you've got and leaving on Sunday with a completed first draft and next steps. You're coming away with all of that. It is worth every penny and every moment we will spend together. It won't just be me either. I'll have some powerful guests there with me as well. It's taking place in Kissimmee, Florida, and it's going to be one place, so your accommodations are included in your ticket price. That's one less expense you have to worry about. So if you're interested, go to tinyurl.com/spring-retreat. In the meantime, have a great rest of your Wednesday and a great and productive rest of your week. Peace.